Fellow Americans. Um, my name is George Wilson. I am your presidential candidate for president in 2020 as a write-in. I have to mention that write-in because it won't be on the ballot. Um, I come to you live to share something from you that's coming from this candidate that you probably will not hear any of the other candidates talk about. One, it's unfortunate about the impeachment, and it still goes on as long as the Democrats hadn't turned over anything to the Republican. But I believe America has spent too much time watching this impeachment and getting involved as far as all the spins and the untruths left untold, or the different way both sides have presented their arguments, mostly now the Republican than the Democrats. And I want to say childish, so I won't say childish. I will use the word immature acts of our present Commander-in-Chief, President Donald J. Trump. He's the third president to be impeached. And when I look back over the President Clinton, they impeached him, but he didn't react like Donald Trump has reacted. Now, nobody knows what he did in closed session or behind closed doors. But when he was in the eyeballs of the public, he kept his cool and he kept it business. And I believe the American people, as a citizen of the United States, as myself, and the citizen of the United States, let's get back to business. This thing is going to keep rolling along as long as both sides are at each other's throat trying to find means of a fair trial. We already heard that two of their senators already said that they're not gonna be fair. In other words, they already made up their mind which way they're going to vote without a trial. So we already know it's not going to be a fair trial. So let's move on from that. I really want to get away from that because as long as they're playing this and as long as they are out here to do this, you're going to get people that are going to forget what's right in front of us. And so I'm moving along back to business as usual. There's a campaign that needs to be run. There are going to be many, many, many people, Democrats, maybe some few Republicans. I doubt it, but you never know. As soon as this year flips over into 2020, we'll know. They'll know pretty much as to how many real candidates there's out there running for the same coveted title, President of the United States. And I believe the Democrats are basically looking not only at the forerunners that are the most likelihood of who would take on Donald Trump according to polling at this time. And it's still too close, and I wouldn't say too close, but it's still not determined by the American people who their real choice is as to who they would nominate or who they would feel have the ability to stand up to and fight Donald Trump. They want to make sure that everybody who fights Donald Trump uh, is able to fight Donald Trump and win. So we have the Democratic Party looking at the best candidate they can find that is not going to be afraid to stand up to Donald Trump and all of his antics and all of his yelling and cussing and threats and all of his cronies and those of some control, or the Republican House, Senate, and that of the House at the time being, that would literally attack anyone that would stand up against Donald Trump. Well, you're looking at such candidate that is not afraid of Donald Trump. I'm not afraid of what man can do to me. All they can do is kill the body, and that's it. But they can't destroy the soul. Can't destroy the spirit in a man. I am more concerned about the one who can not only destroy the body, but destroy the spirit. Destroy the spirit that's in the man, that's God himself. So Donald Trump doesn't move me. His cronies, his people, the Republican House, his threats, and he may make good on some of them. He may try. But I'm not afraid of him. He doesn't scare me. I don't quiver. Now the American people and I guess the political parties will, of course, run background checks to see what you know or what type of person you are that is well groomed or fit to fight Donald Trump. Well, you can't fight a man on his history if he doesn't have any. So that would be anybody that would be running now because Donald Trump, the only thing Donald Trump has is money. All he's ever been was a Hollywood star, an apprentice. All he's ever been was part of a tycoon that had plenty of money to build many, many hotels. He's a very smart and ruthless and corrupted businessman. And he didn't get where he got to without his hand in some shady deals. Probably some money laundering. I don't know. Probably that's why he's not showing his actual tax returns. I don't know that. I'm not questioning that. So if I was the priest, my record up against his, just a smidgen of my record, it wouldn't make no sense because he has no military background. He has no law enforcement background. We both equal when it comes to no political affiliation whatsoever until he became president. The only thing different between that man and myself is, one, I'm a born-again believer. Baptized in Jesus' name, filled with the Holy Ghost, and a pastor. That puts me in a position of more power than he would ever have, being as rich as he is, and the most powerful man on earth at the moment, because not only because of his riches, but because of the positioning. I did some further studying, and I'm going to get to my point in a minute. I did some further studying. When you look at the bottom line, it is the Congress, it's the House, and the Senate that controls the president to a degree. So when they say he's the most powerful man in the world, he still has people he answers to. And that would be the Senate and the House. Whether Democrat, whether Republican. All you need is 2/3% from the Democrats and 2/3 from the Republican. They can either the president either can sign a bill to law or he can veto it. But if he veto it, it comes back to the House. They could rewrite it to make some sense, or they could try to sidestep it because they basically controls oversight and what the president does. Of course, last couple of presidents, as including Barack Obama, kind of overstepped their boundaries. Like, I know what you stand for, and I understand the oversight committee, and I don't have to listen to you. Technically, I'm the president. And I think the position of being the president of the United States, and I would say the weight of the world, but I would say the position of the president of the United States has clouded many characters, even personality, and a lot of unlawful compromising. And if you add that all together, there's a level of corruption. How much corruption depends on the individual and what that individual will allow. So we can see that Donald Trump has allowed a lot of things and he's arrogant of saying that he pays attention to no one. He doesn't follow script. He don't listen to the writers, and he certainly don't abide by too many oversight of his oversight committee. And if you call these evangelicals around him, he doesn't really pay too many attention to them. Not technically. This is what you get when you look at a president like this. So, I am not promising a lot of nothing. And let me get you to understand that once and for all. That doesn't mean I'm not going to do my job. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to see to it that others are doing their job. If the Oversight Committee, which means the House and the Senators, are making sure I do my job, I'm going to see to it as the President of the United States that they're doing their job. Not sitting on bills and stuff that they voted on, that they wanted to vote on, and the others are still in appropriation somewhere. If it's a bill, and it's for the American people, all concerns and issues will be looked into. And the right appropriate action, if need be a law, will be done. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. No. It may take months. I don't know. I've never been into Congress before. I've never handled anything with senators in Congress and how they really work certain things, other than knowledge and what I read. I got a very good idea how things are run. However, no one knows until you get there. And no one knows how bad it is until you get there. I believe there's good people and there's good and bad people. And I believe there's bad and good people. I believe there's corruption everywhere. So it's impossible, or should I say, it's unheard of to say that you're going to weed out all the corruption in Washington, D.C. because it's been there for centuries. Just same game, different faces. So, and some faces are the same, familiar faces in the same game. So, we have to approach this differently and approach it righteously. Now, the reason why I say I'm not going to making a lot of promises, because that's all every candidate does is promise. They say what they want the American people to hear. what you guys want to hear. Someone said I picked him up on TikTok, and he says, we're tired of promises. We want a plan. And he says, out of every Afro-American candidate, I guess he was really focusing on Afro-American candidate, not one has a plan. Well, my brother who made that statement, which I don't know his name, so I am not withholding his name, I'm just saying, I agree with you. So I devised that I'm making plans. One major plan I'm making is to listen. The problem is we're hearing you, but we're not listening to you. And not many presidents are listening, and they're not making it about the American people. They're making it about the position, or they're making it about the office. It's not about the position. It's certainly not about the office. It's about the American people. It's not about the special interest groups or the lobbyists or the committees. And it's certainly not about the corporation. It's about the American people. I don't work for the corporations. I'm not a CEO of a corporation. And that's what the United States has become, a big corporation. I don't work for the big bankers. I don't work for the big insurance companies. So none of which will have any strings attached to me to get me to become partisan. Whether it's all Democrat, whether it's bipartisan, Democrat, Republican. How about nonpartisan? Meaning, I'm not getting caught up in either one of your. I'll listen to the Democrats, and then I'll listen to Republicans. And if I don't agree, that means y'all better come together and come up with another plan. If you expect me to sign something. And it better make some sense, and it better show the American people that you're trying to help them. If it's not trying to help the American people, if it has nothing to do with the American people, then don't send it to my office for me to sign it, because it's going to be a big old giant veto. And if you think you're going to try to beat me in the House or the Senate because I veto something, then we will have fun with this in the courts. Because you're going to need something from me sooner or later. And when you do, I'm not going to even look at it. Now, it's not if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. No, it's what's right, period. That's why I said vote for absolute truth in 2020, because that's what's coming. Absolute truth. That means emphatic, factual, to the point, what's going on. American people need to know what's going on with their American dollars. They also need to know where their money is going. How is your paying taxes helping the economy? Where's all the revenue going? These are questions that we don't ask. These are also questions that you need to ask of your government. You're working, you're paying taxes, and at the end of the year, you expect something for those taxes. But you want to know, during the time you've been working, where's my money been going? My hard-earned money. And if you don't ask that question, the IRS or the federal government is not going to knock on your door or send you a letter or call you on the phone and say, so-and-so, Dr. So-and-so, this is where your money been going. You made this year, and so this is where your money's been going. Itemizing where your hard-earned work money has been going. And our dollar's been going to clean air, and our dollar's been going to the infrastructure, and our dollar's been going to the economy, and our dollar's been going into making more jobs for everybody else. Our dollar's been going into climate control, yeah, to help the climate. Our dollar's going to anywhere that money is needed the most. Matter of fact, I'm not going to tell you, say I doubt it. I know that's not where it's going. You should be concerned as an American citizen with a Social Security number. And you're working in these United States. You need to be concerned about your American dollar that you've been working hard for all your life. Is money coming out my Social Security? Will I have Social Security when I need Social Security? Will I have a pension? Will I have a 401? These are money that you're putting in on a regular every time you get paid, hoping for a goose egg when you do retire. Will there be any money when you retire? These are questions you need to take to your government or to your senator of your state or to your congressman of your state, and you stay on their butt until they make some kind of innuendos and as to telling you what's going on with your dollars. As your commander-in-chief, I will make absolutely sure that you know where your money is going and what it's doing. If it's not going to where it needs to go, it will start. I think the American people has been stepped on long enough, been lied to long enough, been fooled long enough, and been the joke of on Capitol Hill long enough. Everybody's being traded on the American Stock Exchange. Because you got to remember, as American citizens, you are a number. The government don't need your name, just needs your number. That's what you are, a number. Now, I know this is not very popular if you're running for president, so I'm going to say, those are not going to get you votes. Well, we got a lot of young voters out there. And we got you got the African-American voters, and you have the Hispanic voters. And you have some people that's still on the fence, don't know what they're going to do. Well, I'm trying to give you the truth. Now, you can have a president that will be just like this one. He's going to start off, earning your trust. They all do. And then eventually, the position, the compromise will set in. And then nothing that they've ever said to you will more than likely get done. And it's only around a political time or a change in government to start to look political is when they start looking at certain things that they said they would do during their candidate, during their campaigning, that they have to make good on in order to keep the American people in check. Just might as well just keep it running where it is. Now, I made plans. Plans one is to listen. Plan two is not sit around. Plan two is to do something about it. Whatever it takes. And I don't mean in a way of illegalism or corruption. What's right, what's fair, and what's just will be the way I handle everything that comes across that desk. The American people comes first. First thing you look at is global warming. Everybody's concerned about the climate. Everybody's concerned about clean air. And I don't blame you. I would be too. the emission in the air and these factories that's you know that's burning a lot of carbon. I did a lot of stuff to study it. The CO2 that's in the air and the carbon base that's from some of these factories is not nearly enough to start ripping at the ozone. Yes, there's enough of it in the air, but it's not enough to start ripping at the ozone, enough to start changing the climate. Yes, we're heating up. Yes, there's a lot of things going on when it comes to the climate, the global warming, comes to climate change. But it comes to different things when it comes to climate change. I have a plan to limit these factories from putting all this carbon base or this smog into the atmosphere. Run cleaner energy. And we need to get together with the engineers and the scientists and all the people, the biologists, chemists, that make all this energy to run these factories, and find a simple plan to eliminate or nearly eliminate all this carbon-based smoke that's going into the air. So we can run cleaner energy. Now this goes for oil well drilling and the transfer from oil to crude oil to fuel in these processing plants. I know it takes a lot to burn them. I know it takes, I don't know the chemistry of it, but I know it takes a lot to for these to be changed from crude to fuel, to heating fuel, gas, diesel, however. And it's going to be a working process. But I have a plan to make it happen. To get with these people, the ETA, and to sit down with them and say, hey, I don't care about all this other stuff. We are talking about clean air or cleaner air. We're talking about the environment globally. We're talking about the climate because of certain emissions, fossil emissions into the air. One of the things I'm going to stop is these planes flying around with chemtrails, because that's also tearing into the atmosphere. And all these chemtrails are also causing global disaster. So if we don't need the chemtrails, then we're going to stop them from doing it. It doesn't make any sense. Now I know our planes are being flown every single day across this great country of ours. My plan is to find a way that it's a lot cleaner, a lot more efficient, where it doesn't, I'm not saying we're going to totally be 100% clean air when these planes take off, because they burn the combustible engines. They have to blow some type of reaction to force these planes to go a certain miles an hour to get them off the ground. I don't know yet how we're going to go about doing that, but it's a plan. That we look into aviation and look in aeronautics and the logistics about how we can work with the Boeing companies that makes these planes, and see how can we make it a little, still keep the thrusters the power that the plane needs to fly. But how can we make it where the emission from it is not so pollution? It's not so polluted that it goes into the atmosphere as it soars across the skies, moving across our country and our nation and our world. That might be another 3-4 year process. I have no idea. But when you sit back and don't do nothing, we could talk about this all day long. People are tired of hearing you talk. They want to see you do. They want to hear that you have a plan. They want to know you have a plan. A plan is not a promise. A plan is a work in process. A plan is saying, I'm going to talk to the people that I need to talk to. And I'm going to talk to Congress and all those that are involved, the different contractors that are involved in these areas. Get them off their thumbs, twiddling up their butts, and get them to actually doing their jobs. Coming together in a meeting to say, hey, what can we really do? So that's one of the main things. Everybody's talking about global warming. Everybody's talking about clean air. We're talking about infrastructure. I have a plan that every bridge, every road, and I've been on some really bad roads, overpass is fully constructed to the point that if it's been more than 5 to 10 years it's been worked on, that we will investigate to see where the weaknesses is and reconstruct it so these roads are passable, that we don't have these broken streets, even secondary streets, with these major potholes, drain-offs, where if it rains, it don't flood a community. I've seen rural areas like in North Carolina and South Carolina, where in Louisiana, which thank God they have developed a system that they added to drain off more water back into the Gulf. Generators. But that's just the beginning. We need to do more work on our infrastructure, our schools. If you got schools that got more metal detectors than books and computers, there's a problem. We need to check why the schools don't have what they need to efficiently teach our children, give our children the material they need and the protection they need while they're at school. Teachers that are re-educated, that shouldn't have to come out their pockets to go back to get the education that they need to teach the children to take the children into the next millennium, into the cyberspace, into cyber. We're coming up on cyber time, where we need to be able to compete with the top world energy experts and computer and knowledges and all this stuff. But our children can't do this if they don't have the material and don't have the personnel that are up to date in their credentials and up to date into what we need to teach our children. We have autism, which is a problem in not only in America but all over the world. We need teachers with special credentials and education that will help these young men and women with autism and children to feel comfortable and to help them to understand what they need to know to be productive in society, even if they have this disability. No one needs to be left behind because of an ability or a disability. So we're going to be moving very closely when we talk to infrastructure, paying attention to things that most people overlook. Now, I know each state have their own laws, they have their own funding, they do what they have to do when it comes to education. Government really doesn't get involved too much in education on the lower scale from 12 to kindergarten. They step in when it comes to physical budgets. The education department of the U.S. government steps in when it comes to budget for each state. And they only basically really step in mostly is when higher education, when you're talking about colleges and universities. Because now you're talking financial aid and all the other government assistance programs for those that are going to college. And I think there should be incentives, programs added for those that aspiring to be teachers. Not a lot of people want to be teachers anymore. A lot of people don't have the patience, the integrity, and the willpower or the ability to want to deal with other people. I should say the long suffering, to deal with troubled teens. This is also another area that we need to look into when we talk infrastructure. We're talking about troubled teens. Teens that are runaways, teens that are in halfway houses, teens that are in juvie, teens that are running the streets, school dropouts. Now, I've always been an advocate for GED. To get your GED or something that says you passed the high school equivalency program, I've been an advocate so you can go back to school. But I'm thinking of another plan, because anybody can go get a GED now. You study what little material they tell you that's on the test. It's like common sense. You can go get your GED from any outlet that allows you to get your GED. Usually it's free. Or you may pay $50 here or $100. I don't know what it is now. But anyway. It's like you got to pay a price to get education that you should have gotten while you were in school. And again, I have no issues with GED. But I want to do something different. Now we have Job Corps for that. Government programs that is called Job Corps. And the age range from 18, I believe it is, or 16, I believe it is, to 24. I want to move that lower from 15 to 26. Because most of your troubled teens are around about 15 years old. Instead of sending them to juvie, because usually they're pretty don't learn about too much in juvie either. That year that you're going to send them to juvie, depending on their crimes, you have to look at that too. It may be a real good kid, just got troubles. His environment, maybe his home is it's broken. Maybe there's a lot of different things that would cause a kid to do some weird stuff. And he's troubled. Looking into a possible mentoring program. I know there's mentoring programs out there. I'm talking something else now. I'm not talking halfway houses. I'm talking about a genuine mentoring program where this child enters this program where he be taught about himself with psychologists, pastors, and if they need to get that education on psychology or sociology, then that program will provide for that pastor to get that type of credential. That this program, I don't know the name of the program yet, so don't look at me like, but it sounds like a promise, right? No, it's something I'm working on. I hadn't totally come up with what it'll be, but I'm gonna run this by some people first. But it will help it's not only the children, but their parents If they don't read, write, or they haven't gone back to school to get their diploma, or if they haven't, if they got that ambition to go to college, then they could come and them and their children could be counseled and have schooling to help them help their children or their child. We have a section for marriage counseling. Maybe there's something went wrong in the marriage. Find out what it was. Maybe there's a possibility to reconcile that relationship. If it's abusive, I guess not. But teaching them how to continue to move on and not let these kids fall into the hands of the streets. Know where your children is. We talking about we want the best for our children. Let's step up and let's help our children. Let's get some of these kids off the street and not so much putting them in some type of detention place. But let's find out what's wrong with them. Let's talk to them first. Let's find out what's making them tick. Let's find out what's happening with them. Children have a tendency to talk if they feel somebody gives a darn. Literally care. Don't say you care. Show me you care. About me. Make it personal about me. If I cry, don't call me a punk. If I don't know what I am, help me to understand what I am. If I'm mixed up in my head about what I should do, well, help me kind of guide me to a position where, not telling me what to do, but give me options. Because most of these inner city kids feel that they don't have any options. And the government is not paying attention to this. That's part of infrastructure. When we talk about infrastructure, we're talking about society as a whole. Those that are outside, those are inside. Those are struggling, and those that are on that borderline that need to come up. Not saying, well, they're doing pretty good. They'll be all right. Nobody should make below poverty level. Nobody should be at poverty level. Nobody should be at a point that you can't make ends meet by your employment. Check to check to check to check. Nobody should not be at a point that if you make mistakes in your life, that the current credit system is based on not only your mistakes, but it's based on how long something is delinquent, or how long something is not being paid. So I think the whole credit system needs to be looked at and revamped and rechecked. Now, I'm not talking about those that are deadbeats and don't want to pay nothing. They're looking for something for free. You mess that up, you fix it. But basically, things happen every day to people. Your credit could be pretty great, pretty good. And then you get sick. You get kicked out. Something happened to your job. You can't make those payments anymore. Or your payments become late. They become delinquent. Now the credit bureau wants to make you look like the bad guy. Want to make you look like you're a bum, make you look like somebody that shouldn't trust you anymore. Things happen, even to those that look at the numbers, even those that crunch those numbers. They're human like you. They make mistakes too. So why don't we start acting human and start treating people like they're monsters and start treating people the way you want to be treated? Maybe it's something to start looking at. In this administration, that's what we're going to do. When we say infrastructure, we're going to look at every little thing that goes on in infrastructure. I believe the police department need to be funded more so they can extend their academy, retrain the police officers, even the ones that have been there for a minute, retrain them. Don't just say, okay, you got a shield. Some maybe in that position, they need to be promoted to sergeant, lieutenant, whatever. Maybe they got those type of leadership skills. Let's move the ranks. Let's add new. Let's make an intense training for our firefighters, and the money that'll match. Let's give them the equipment that they need. If we got bad cops, and we do, let's find out who's the bad guy. Give him an opportunity to say, hey, look, if this is not what you signed up for, just resign. Don't want to blemish your record thus far? Resign. Take your partial payment. Let the position be open for those that are willing to obey and to serve and protect like the law says, not to overstep your authority. And that's the problem with government in the city and local governments and state government. Everybody's overstepping their authority. And the ones that are in charge is allowing them to do so. And it's basically saying law enforcement officers are above the law, just like anybody else in government or politics. They think they're above the law. If you got on the back of your tags, Senate or House rep, and you go speeding, and the cops see it, 9 times out of 10, if you're not running recklessly, you're just running speeding, they're not going to pull you over. And if they do, they're going to say, Senator or Congressman, you need to slow that down a little bit. But if somebody like me or you do it, we got a big fat ticket. And a couple other charges they want to snap onto it if they want to. And please don't act like you're really polite to them, because if you're my color, I just hate to say it like that, you might get asked to get out your vehicle. And you just might kiss pavement. This is where we need to say, if my money is going to the police department, or the better the policing we have in our states and our cities, am I guaranteed that the money I'm making is going to them, that they're going to use it correctly and properly to protect me and not try to hurt me? There's too many people dying by policemen using deadly force. I was always taught, don't use deadly force until you have no other choice. That should be the last thing you should be considering, deadly force. First thing cop grabs for today is their gun instead of their tasers. And then some that use their tasers, they overcharge you. They overcharge you. And some people have heart conditions, or will develop heart conditions. This is a lot of voltage going into your body. Now some, you may have to, if they're on that stuff, you may have to give them a little bit of extra charge to get them under some kind of control. But that's why I said training. Retrain these officers. They got body cams. It should not be malfunctioning. You check that before you hit the streets. It shouldn't go off in the middle of what you're doing. A police car can be disabled, but the camera on that police car continues to work. It still sees everything. Your body cam should be working exactly like the cam on the police car. It doesn't go off. Until it's disabled. If you're not going to use it correctly, don't let it show you doing good things. Let it show when you're doing something you got no business doing. Oops. Yep. Let the camera catch the oops. Because 9 times 10 is going to tell you what type of officer you are. Then we need to find leadership in the police department that's going to stand up and say, not only for their officers, but also stand up for the law. If they break it, you break them. Why do we have policing if we're not going to do it right? No one should have to have the right to pull a gun on somebody and literally take their life for it. Unless yours are being threatened. When there's no other way possible. When diplomacy doesn't work anymore, I still say, and I had a hard time with that a long time ago, I still say, I won't aim to kill you, but I will bring you down. I will stop you, but I won't kill you. I don't have that right. According to the law, you're a peace officer. You have a right to kill somebody if your life or the life of someone else is threatened by that individual. I think too many officers are taking kill shots. That is not necessary. Racism is another thing in this country that has to be addressed. There's a plan to address racism. I thought about this. I'm carefully working on certain plans. Of course, like I said, you need help with all these plans. You can't just implement plans by yourself. You need other people. But you need other people that's like-minded and other people that think pretty much on the same lines. They want protection. They want the truth. They want people that are going to say, I'm going to stand up for what's right. I don't need another yes man in the office. I need somebody to say, if something don't make no sense, say no. Say, I don't understand, sir. We need people that can think. Not strings pulled to say no, say yes. Or strings pulled say no. Need someone that can think for themselves. What's better or what's right for the American people. Not garbage. Not sit there and play this old okie dokie game that Washington's been playing for years. And the only reason why Washington's getting away with a lot of stuff, because nobody and everybody is afraid to tell on somebody. Or afraid to expose somebody because then they'll be exposed. Well, I always use this. If you never done anything, you ain't got to worry about who's going to expose anything. Oops. But that's the whole thing with Washington. Rituals, sacrifices, compromise. The good old boys group. And women. That you have these oaths that you take. Sworn to secrecy. Sworn to corruption. And they see you tell secrets that nobody's supposed to ever know. But your brotherhood. And when they find out, and when you decide you might run the rail a little bit, they use what you showed them or told them, and they use it against you to put you back in line. Or to get out of you what they want. Because it's called blackmail. Everything in Washington is blackmail. Of some sort. See, this video, if it ever gets out, they would say, well, why would I vote for a president, especially the Democratic Party, that may one day expose us? If you're not dirty dealing, and you're doing it for the American people, not just not saying this is what you're doing for the American people, but you're actually doing it for the American people, you ain't gonna have no problem with me. I ain't gonna have no problem with you. But if I see you dirty dealing, I'm not a dirty dealer. I'll call you on it. We'll talk. We'll try to see where we can say, hey, I don't care how Washington used to be run. That ain't how it's going to run now. I can't change the whole city. I can't change the whole government. But I sure could have done it. And if you get the right people in there, and get some of these crazy folks out of there, and put some people in there that gives a darn about you and me as a regular American citizen, there's a start. There's a start. No promises. Only promise I'll make is that we're going to always have a plan. We're always going to keep the American people first and foremost. Your safety versus everything else. From cyber attack, from infrastructure attacks, terrorism of any kind, our borders, our enemies, you won't have to worry about how your protection is the first thing is going to be utmost important in my mind. It's not going to be I'm going to do something because it's the most political thing to do. Lives are important. Every life is important. And I know we all can talk this yang. If you're Republican, don't matter. Independent, it doesn't matter. Democrat, it doesn't matter. When you get in that Oval Office, whether you or me, whomever, and you see that seat behind that Oval desk, that coveted seat that everybody's been trying to run for, it's not going to be surreal until you step into that office as the commander-in-chief of the United States and of the world. When you sit in that seat, everything changes forever. You're going to have every nation in the world looking at you. You're going to have people calling you for favors. You're going to have folks trying to find something wrong with something you said. You're going to have people up your butt like the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, if they don't feel that you're too Democrat. You're not liberal enough. You're not conservative enough. You're not partisan or bipartisan or nonpartisan. You're going to have people crawling up your butt. Then you're going to have the economists. Then you're going to have lobbyists. Then you're going to have special interest groups. Then you're going to have the all types of people jostling for your position, but for your advice. You're going to have the armed forces, Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, Air Force at your fingers. I'm talking about congressional leaders. I'm talking about people that make decisions on a daily basis. They're running by the president. Because the Army can't make a decision for a campaign without the president's approval. And the president's approval, it's not just by his word, it has to go through Congress first. They have to approve on the campaign. See, a lot of people don't understand that either. And a lot of people don't know that. And now you do, if you see what I'm saying to you. So a lot goes into sitting in that seat. And when you sit in that seat, you better be going to work. You didn't come to play. It's not a photo op. It's not a little selfie. It's not TikTok. Social media, texting. What is that thing they do? Twittering. Like Donald Trump, everything they have all the time in the world. The Twitter, all kinds of crap. How are you helping the American people if you're busy Twittering? How are you helping the American people, foreign and domestic, if you're talking to Russia? Snuffing allies. Moving troops from trouble zone areas that you know the minute you move them, another nation's going to come right in and wipe these people out. As we turn our backs, well, that's your problem. Last night, the president must have gave the order. They bombed Iran or Afghanistan, somewhere over there. because they said 2 weeks ago they killed some American people. So they turned around and bombed 5 sites of theirs and killed a number of their people. I have a problem. If you kill American people or attack us today, you ain't got to wait 2 weeks for me to respond. Now, maybe they was unaware of that attack. Very strategic. Meaning they thought we weren't going to do anything at all. And when you least suspect it, bam. I don't know the casualty rate. They're not going to tell you the casualty rate. That was done yesterday, last night. While everybody in the world was doing their thing, there was a war going on from U.S. strikes overseas. Whether the president made the right decision or not, we'll soon find out. Because nothing goes unanswered. You bomb a site, 5 sites, if you don't think any retaliation is coming, I don't know. And one of those sites where hit was in Syria. The Russians got pissed by it. Excuse my language. They got upset and they doubled them down. They're pushing back. And they're saying, hey, why did you bomb something close to us? Or we're allies with the Syrians, so why did you use that force in Iran, which we're allies to? Okay, a couple of your people got killed, but then this is history. Your people always getting killed. You didn't go back and go bomb nobody when all these people got killed in this war. Now you want to start fighting back? Now you want to show some military force? That's the Russians thought. Think, oh really? Basically, they're telling us leave well enough alone. See, we done got too chummy with Russia. Russia's basically saying, leave well enough alone. Because if we push back, I know you don't want to go to war with us, but that's our ally you just blew up. We support them, so you know we're going to get involved in this somewhere. We can do this peacefully, or we can do this pretty ugly. And right now, to be honest with you, we are the most powerful nation in the world. But we're led to believe that we're not stronger than Russia. Now, I'm not downplaying Russia at all. Russia's got 400 bomb sites all over the world. 400 nuclear missile bomb sites stationed strategically all over the world, except for in the United States. Any one of them can be fired from any location, and they have the range to hit the United States if that's what they want to do. We, on the other hand, the last number I looked was 250 stationed all over the world. Might be more. I'm not sure. Because I'm a citizen like you. We're not supposed to know. Well, how do you know? These are things you need to know if you're running for president. You follow what I'm saying? We're in this for the wrong reasons. I know that our American troops are fighting for a country that they believe in. And I know that many have given their lives for what they believe in and what they thought was a genuine war against American troops or U.S. soil or allies. And I understand in war comes casualties. Happens. But my understanding is, or my question as a U.S. citizen, why do so many have to die over a frivolous war that didn't make no sense. And sometimes we were over there, supposed to be a peaceful mission, and then we got ourselves blown up with IUDs. Why? Attack on us because they knew we were in the region. Why? And what did the families gain out of this? Some families still today, to date, still don't understand why their child or their husband or their wives or relatives were blown all to pieces. For what? What we call democracy? The question is, why were they even over there? In this administration, we don't send troops on the ground or in the air to any foreign country unless we're being attacked or there's a threat on the United States. Yes, there are troops that we will keep on the ground to protect our allies, the DMZ zone, to protect those that are in these American embassies all over the world. But that's as far as we go. Yes, we would be ready at any moment to deploy any troops for any given reason if we have to protect the American way or the American people, not for war, because every war campaign costs money, and somebody's bidding on that side or this side. And then, if you want to be honest, history played the same thing before and bet on both sides. Either way is a win-win. But it's a loss when American people get killed because you're trying to make money. How does it help a household? How does it help them to understand they were a hero? I don't want to hear they were a hero. I don't want a medal. I don't want a flag. I don't want all these things that you bring to me. I don't care if you paid my bills for the rest of my life because my son was a commander somehow, or my daughter was, or my husband was, or wife was. It's just things. But my house would always be empty because they fought for a commander-in-chief that says that we were in trouble when we really weren't in trouble, but it was a paid op to do what they did, and you got my son killed. Believing and fighting for a country he thought he was really fighting for. You can't explain that to me. And I don't want nobody ever to look at me as Commander-in-Chief, President of the United States, and ask me to explain why did I send their son, their husband, their daughters, their wives overseas somewhere to fight in a war that was frivolous and didn't make no sense at all. When they could have been at home and still doing their training and have a job and protecting their home and being part of society. All he knows is money. He don't know about lives lost. What about other countries? Hades. When's the last time we viewed Hades? They still need help. We promised them. Where did the promise go? Let's look at home, Houston. We promised them. What about Puerto Rico? Whom the president mocked. We promised them too. What about trade deal we made with Mexico and Canada? We promised them too. Or other countries. See what I mean? What about the women of this country that this president has totally and utterly disrespected? He has no respect for the news media. Women, he said, sit down, and I didn't call you. I called him. She said, well, sir, I said, sit down. I said, shut up. Who talks to people like that? Who deframes women like that? You call yourself a president? No, sir. You got two women that I know of right now that's running for president. They will never see the light of day. If Donald Trump continues what he's doing and his control over Congress, those women will never get there. It's good show up, but they'll never become president. That's just the way it is. But that'll change. I know I'm a write-in, and you have to write my name in to vote for me. But my running mate will be a woman. You might have shut up Hillary Clinton. But I'm going to have somebody that's going to run with me that's not afraid of you, Donald Trump. That stands for the values that I stand for. And we're not running away. She will be vice president. And if you decide to get rid of me or try, God knows y'all don't want a woman president now, do you? You don't even want a woman vice president. But that's who I choose. I would choose a woman to run with me. Because the women need to know they have that respect. That they can run for any office they want to and actually get in. No promises. Just hard work. And if you're honest to your word, I don't see no reason why. Hang on. Babe. You okay? That shot? How's your breathing? You keep throwing up? Yeah, it's probably because your body getting used to it. Ouch. Anyway. Now you know how I feel. But anyway. So America, wake up. Citizens of the United States, this is your opportunity. 2020 is not a year you want to sleep. Church, wake up. This is your opportunity as well. I said it once. I'll say it again. This is not about George Wilson. It's about the truth. It's about me and you and us together as one. Taking D.C. by storm. Not just by voices alone. By qualified positions that if President Trump didn't like you, that your application will go either get thrown out or get pushed underneath the crowd. Only going through the ones that he wants to talk to or recommend. There's still job positions that were available since the Obama administration, and something came open after he took office and were never filled. Because he didn't like what was in the pile of applications. And these are men and women that were well qualified for those positions. Not an interview. Never an interview, never a call. There's supposed to be an opportunity you can be promoted from within. And not too many of that. Not so much of that has happened since he's been president. See, the reason why this country can't run any better than it's running, because we got people that are in position of power for a long stretch period of time, and they get re-voted back in by their constituents. No longer the American people, it's the people that's already in the Congress. If you've been there for a year as the first time congresswoman, congresswoman, you have to do whatever it is that you got to do to make these people that you are partners with re-elect you for a second term. They don't, you're back on the streets to your district. Trying to get the people, to rally the people again, to get you back into Washington. Because Washington wants you. And that's what happens after your 2-year tenure. They vote you back in. It's called give or take in D.C. Senators got 6-year terms, so they don't have to worry about it. Automatic 6-year term. I don't have to re-vote for you to come back next year because it's an automatic 6-year terms. House is automatic 2-year term. How many people can I make how many friends can I make on Capitol Hill in a 6-year term in order to be re-elected for another 6 years? Or for another 2 years? That's how it goes. So it makes it harder for another person from the same district, from the same state, to fill a seat that will never become empty. Unless you challenge the one that's in there. The voice of the people versus the voice inside already. And 9 times out of 10, they already know who they want. They don't want to break in a newbie. We already got one. We probably got him trained. Carry him over another year. So that person's running. Because you only get 2 senators per state. If there's already 2 senators from your state already in there, and they didn't get voted out, you can't get in. That's the way it rolls. Same thing with senators. You're only allowed 2 per state. 6-year terms. Or was it 1? I forgot. Anyway. That's why the race is so difficult for senators. Because your seat comes up for grab in 2 years. That gives the American people a chance to run for your seat. That gives the American people a chance to run for Senate change. If it's a Republican Senate, which it is now, if a Democratic president hit that office, there's a possibility you got a regime change. Possibility the Democrats could take the Senate. But I've seen things where you got a Democratic president and a Republican Senate. Or reverse, Democratic Senate and Republican House. So yeah, it could be very difficult. Not saying it can't be done, it's just difficult. That's why every 4 years the seat comes available. Find somebody out there that may be better than this one the last 4 years. I'm gunning for you, President Donald John Trump. Yes, as a write-in. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for your position. I may have to come up the ranks. That's fine. Truth outwins a lie every time. Integrity outwins corruption every single time. I know you've been told A lie never stands. You told plenty of them. And we all know you did. Even your own party. I gotta give you one thing. You definitely got some serious supporters. They're just as corrupt as you are. Because any of them had any integrity whatsoever in what's right and what's wrong, they'd have left you a long time ago. And wouldn't have cared about your little threats. President George Wilson, I am running for the 23rd District of Tulare County as your president for the United States of America. Vote truth, George Wilson, absolute truth in 2020. It's a write-in. You want to vote for me, you got to write my name in. It's an opportunity to do so, opportunity for real change. Real change. Not promises, just facts, truth, and plans. That's all I got. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Have a wonderful night.